Good morning, everybody. Another episode of the Keep Going podcast, athletes shining a light on mental health. Super excited. We got Coach Josh Keener in the building. If you haven't seen our social media, his softball girls are fired up to have this man on the podcast. Before I go to Josh, I'm going to David Mitchell, handsome bookshelf out there in Colorado. What up, Dave?
What's going on, Pat? How we doing today?
Good, man. Where are you coming out of?
Coming out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado today. Yeah.
Well, I love it, man. Well, thanks for being here, Dave. Jackie Tripp, you're back in a location that's not crazy, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm local today. I'm laying a long week of work, but I'm excited to jump on the pod this morning.
Well, if you can catch Jackie local, that's rare these days, which I love that. And Josh Keener, just to give you a little bit of an intro here. Josh coached me at Rockford University, Division III coach at that time. Now Josh is a coach at Blackhawk out there in Long Island, almost said that. Rock Island out there in that area, softball coach. Not only that, but had a huge year this year, which we'll get into. And last but not least, the reason Josh is on the pod today, he was starting to get interviewed, starting to get some media pub, and he reached out to me and said, why can't I get on the Keep Going podcast? So here we are today. Josh, why did you want to come on the Keep Going podcast?
I love what you've been doing, bud. Fun to see you kind of build this thing up and grind it out over the last couple of years. I think we talked back probably 2 or 3 years ago about doing something and fell through whatever reason. We're both busy guys, and wanted to get a chance to come on and hang out with you and the crew a little bit. And I think a lot of what your guys' messaging goes really hand in hand with what we talk about in our program. I think it's a great fit, and I think there's a lot of similar messaging. So just a chance to explore that a little bit with y'all.
Well, Josh, I appreciate you. And also for the audience, if you don't know this, I never get into college coaching without Josh Keener. When I was 22 years old, I was getting done playing at Rockford University. Josh walked up to me and said, hey, there's this volunteer position at Rock Valley College. Are you interested? And I said, Josh, I couldn't get my ACT high enough to get my teaching certificate. And there's a lot going on in my world. Without Josh, I'm probably not talking to everybody on the podcast today. So, Josh, I love you for that, man. I want to start with that so I didn't forget that. Tell me what mental health means to you, man, because you've been a huge part of mine.
Yeah, no, I think especially, baseball, softball, it's such a beautiful but unforgiving and at times ugly game and grind, right? I mean, it's you talk about, I know it's cliche, but the amount of failure that we have to deal with, it's hard. Playing side, coaching side, it doesn't matter. It's we go through a lot of ups and downs and have to fight through a lot of tough times, right? We got to deal with a lot of losses, and not just box score, but practice every day, setbacks, struggles, the rewarding part coming out of that. And it doesn't necessarily just mean having a winning season, but to go through that journey with some of your closest friends and teammates and coaches, mentors, whatever. Those of us that have gone through it know it's the most rewarding thing ever, right? And those relationships and those friendships that you come out of it with. But when you're in it, like when you're in that fight, sometimes it's hard to have that big picture, that lens. And so in our program, man, we talk a lot about love, trust, and empathy. Those are kind of 3 pillars for us, and things that help us with the mentals in the between the years and getting through those hard times. And it's where it sounds like it's similar messaging to what you guys talk about here. So I'm a big advocate for player autonomy. I want our players to have ownership over their program. I say it all the time. It's your program. I'm here to not screw it up. I'm just here to drive the bus and try not to crash it. But the mental health piece it's huge, man. And there's so much going on nowadays. Everybody's nose is buried in a screen, and I think we've lost some of that human interaction a little bit. And that's where, for me, like the empathy part of that is huge. Having empathy for your teammates and hoping they have empathy for you and understanding what that looks like. I think that's a word we don't talk about enough in society. I think it's a concept that kids aren't even familiar with, really. And that's not their fault, but I think we have a platform then to educate them on that and help them understand what that looks like.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that great teams win. And what I mean by that is culture is overused in today's society. Like, everybody's got culture, right? Everyone's got culture. I don't think that's the truth. If everybody had culture, everybody would win, right? You mentioned empathy, love, things like that. Talk about last year's team, because you guys come out of nowhere, have a great year. And I think a lot of that was who you had in that locker room, who you had in that dugout, not only as players, but as people. Talk about that part of it.
100%, man. And I've this past summer in recruiting conversations, I find myself using this phrase a lot. Like 20 teams make the World Series, right? We weren't one of the 20 most talented softball teams in the country. Just being very, very blunt. We weren't one of the most top 20 talented softball teams. We were one of the top 20 best teams, right? And that speaks exactly what you just said. We had a lot of phenomenal human beings on that team that loved the heck out of each other, loved the heck out of the program, and made it a priority for themselves and for each other. And yeah, dude, you couldn't have said it any better. We were great because it was important to them and they loved each other. We were a great team. Doesn't mean we had the most talent on the diamond, but we were a great team. And that's hard to replicate. But you're right. I love what you said. Culture is so overused, man. I almost cringe when I hear it. And when I hear people talk about, our culture, first of all, I don't think you can do that with words. I think just talking it doesn't do much. It's a buzzword. It's catchy. It's whatever, but it's what you do day to day. It's what you're really about. And I would hope if you interviewed some of our players, they would have similar messaging. Like our culture is about loving the heck out of each other and making the program important in their lives.
No doubt. And Dave, I'll go to you, man. Obviously, you've been a part of some special teams, as a player at the JUCO level and then NAIA as well. What made those teams different for you, Dave, being on them?
Yeah, I like what you said there, Josh, about culture isn't built by words, it's built by action. And it starts with a leadership role, but it also allows sometimes players to have a little bit more control and they can come together and talk it through themselves. And it's not always it's a teamwork. It's not always just the coach, it's the players coming together, working through it with the coach. And that makes a really strong team, I think, moving forward.
No doubt. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, and I mean it starts at the top, and I like that you mentioned the word culture because I think that's such I hear that everywhere too, and I'm not even a coach. I guess a question as you being the one driving the bus, how would you advise a college player to be an attribute to one of those great teams?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think you do have to have a certain leadership structure in place. I think if you're in a program that isn't necessarily open to players having a voice, you got to be careful with fit, right? Like if you're somewhere where you feel like you don't have a voice, you don't feel valued, then you probably have to look elsewhere. And that is one positive thing with the college sports landscape now is you can be at 4 schools in 4 years and nobody bats an eye at it, and the stigma's gone from that, and it's happening all over the place, right? But if you are somewhere where coach has an open door policy where you can get in their ear and you don't like how things are going, it's open and honest communication, man. It's just like any relationship in life, right? Healthy relationships, you got to talk about things. And I also think part of our job as college coaches is helping for student athletes to become adults. And part of becoming an adult is having hard conversations, right? It's easy to sit and joke around and have a good time. It's not so easy when it's hard things and hard things to talk about. But at the end of the day, that's how we mature and grow and get better as people and humans, and foster better relationships is by having hard conversations. One of the, and I've heard this from players a lot these past few months, one of the most impactful days that we had as a team in last year was a cold Saturday in like late February. And we didn't swing a bat. We didn't play catch. Like we didn't do anything athletically. We literally sat in a circle in our beautiful turf indoor facility. And we talked, and it wasn't fun. And I kind of started it off with maybe not the most positive tone, but a tone that I felt needed to be said at the time because we had some drama and we had some cattiness and we had some players upset that they weren't getting as many opportunities as other players. And we had only played a handful of games. So we all sat down and I told them we're going to figure this out today, or we're going to have a not very fun, next 2 or 3 months. And for me, that's okay. I don't want to go through that, but I'm a big boy. I can. And I'll have a new team in here next year, but I don't think that's what you guys want out of your experience. And I kid you not, guys, it was 2 hours. I stepped away after my little 5-minute kind of rant. And they talked to each other for 2 hours, no phones, tablets, screens. no music playing. Like they hashed it out. And it wasn't all like, I love you guys so much. I mean, it was some real stuff like, hey, when you're not playing and you're at the end of the dugout pouting, that brings her down, and that's not fair to her. And it was awesome, and it was authentic. Like it was so real. But we came out of it so much better as a group, as a team, as a collection of humans, right? And hearing those kids talk about that moment, I mean, I was hearing players give interviews to local media, like telling them, "Well, we had a powwow in in February. That was the turning point." Not the answer the news really wanted to hear, like not the flashy, sexy, like the bottom of the seventh walk off, base hit to left center. But it's real, like, and that was a real kind of turning point for us as a group. But yeah, just as a player, if you're in a situation where you feel the need to contribute to that, also don't feel like you need a coach's approval. Like you can foster those relationships with teammates and kind of address issues within a team. Like that's being a leader. Now there's a right and a wrong way to do it, right? There's a tone that you have to have. And that's where we go back to talking about empathy, and like your perceptions aren't always reality, and how someone comes off might not be how they intended it to come off. But if you're the person that's trying to spark and ignite those conversations, making sure you're coming from a genuine place, and that those that you're trying to lead understand that they're not doing it because they want to be a captain or they want to be a leader, but they want to have a good experience too, and they're trying to make us all better. I think when you come from that authentic place, you can do that as a player without having a coach's approval. But when it all comes together and you have a staff that encourages that, and that's open and that promotes kind of player autonomy, you can create some special stuff. And I think that's what people talk about when they talk about culture. Like that's kind of become my definition of it. But I try to stay away from that word because it's been abused.
I get it. And I would say that, coming off the summit, it's very fresh. That's when it gets really dangerous. Like that's when you have a team that loves and believes in each other, it gets dangerous. And I'd also say unspoken expectations lead to broken relationships. And you could have a clubhouse, a locker room, a dugout go to crap very quickly. And Josh, I want to get into the keep going moment part of this because you have a unique story. You didn't play high level baseball or softball, obviously. And then all of a sudden you're winning coach of the year last year. Talk about your keep going moment, man. Is it tied to that? I want to hear that. The audience does too.
Yeah, no, you're right, Pat. And I appreciate you giving me a little shout out at the beginning for helping ignite your path after post college. My first opportunity came from Coach Kevin Vest, who's not with us anymore.
R.I.P. To the GOAT.
Yeah.
To the GOAT.
But that's a guy that sat back and gave a kid with 0 college at bats a chance to coach college baseball, and that's where my journey started. Um, but hey, look, man, I knew at a young age, like I wanted to be around the game. I also was realistic with my ability, and I knew I wasn't going to play professional baseball. I knew I probably wasn't even going to play varsity high school baseball, but that was okay. I found a way to stay around it. I umpired when I was in high school. Like I ran tournaments on weekends. I found a way to stay around it, and then when Coach Vest got to Rock Valley, brought in Brett Scarpetta as his pitching coach, great family friend. You played with his younger brother, Ryan.
Shout out Scarp too. We're just gonna give all the shout outs today. All the
lot of 815 shout outs today. But I reached out to Brett and I'm like, hey man, I actually went to University of Illinois, Chicago out of high school. Had a great freshman year, probably wasn't the most productive in the classroom, kind of realized like I wasn't ready for that. And I think a lot of 18-year-olds aren't ready to go away from home and be on their own. At the time, you think you can conquer the world, right? But I kind of realized after that year, like this isn't. I'm not ready for this. I need to go home. I need to go to community college. But I need baseball in my life, man. Like that was my moment. Was after freshman year of college, being like, I don't have a direction. I don't know what I'm doing. And look, guys, 18 to like 24 is such a hard age, man. Like you feel like you have to be an adult. You feel like you have to have it all figured out. No, nobody does during that point in life, but it's really hard to see that when you're in it. It's hard to know your purpose at that time. And I knew I had a passion for the game, and that was my happy place, man. Like I wanted to be out on a field for 4, 5, 6 hours a day. I wanted to work with guys like you. And I knew I had something to offer. and whether that be like the technical, like X's and O's lessons type stuff, or whether that be kind of the stuff we're talking about here, just the mental side of the game. Like, me, man, I nerd out on baseball, softball. Like, it's my jam. Like, it's my passion, and sharing that passion, I kind of realized, like, man, this is what I want to do. This is how I can get a sense of productivity out of my life. This is how I can feel like I'm making a difference in other people's lives. I'm so fortunate to get to do what I do, man. And I look back now, gosh, man, my first season as a student assistant coach was fall of 2010. Holy cow, man, it's been 15 years. And I think back of all the players I've got to interact with, and the ones I still stay in touch with. And what a blessing, man. What a blessing to be able to touch that many people's lives, and hopefully most of them in a positive way. But yeah, that's got to be my keep going moment, man. Just after freshman year of college, not having an idea of what I wanted to do with my life, and knowing that my purpose was to be around the game, and that was my chance to impact other people. And here we are.
Yeah, I'm gonna let these folks here ask some questions to you, Josh, but it just screams take the leap. Take the leap. And I think a lot of us in this room, and coaches and players and parents, that's our dynamic, right? We'll listen to this and go, wow, I got to take that leap, or I got to have my athlete take that leap. Jackie, go ahead. I know you're loving this. I'm going to have you and Dave go popcorn questions to wrap us up. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to have Dave start with questions. And if I have one at the end, I'll hit you with one, because I like Dave always comes up with good questions. But I like that, Josh, that you hit on the 18 to 24 age. I'm about to turn 24, so I've gone through the whole journey of, I switched my major 3 times. I stopped playing my college sport, tried to figure myself out. And I think it's important that you went and you retreated from your original plan, and you decided to do something that you love, and you took the leap in doing so. And I think that was a good reminder for college kids today, because you find a lot of college kids trying to make a good living or make a lot of money and do something that sounds good, when really all you have to do is just make a good life for yourself and do what you enjoy. And it definitely shows in the way that you speak about your team and how you coach. I wish Pat and I's girlfriends played college softball together. I wish they could have played for you, but your players seem lucky to have you, and it seems like you have a good, I'll say it, you have a good culture over there, and a true one that you do what you say you're going to do, and you lead well. So I appreciate you sharing all that.
Well said, Jackie Tripp. Well said. Go ahead, Dave. David Mitchell's mailbag is in the building. David Mitchell, let's go, baby.
Yeah, going off that point of like that 18 to 24, 25 year olds, what advice would you give if someone is going through that kind of transition loss phase? What advice would you give them? That's someone that may be struggling in that phase right now.
So I think the biggest piece of advice I can give, and unfortunately not everyone is able to do this, but if you can, work for free. Like, be willing to work for free. If there's something that you really love and want to do, put in unpaid hours if you can. And I say that, like, I was very, very fortunate. My parents were very supportive. They let me live at home until, I didn't need to live at home anymore. And that allowed me to be a coach. So, but I grinded, man. Like, I worked a beer delivery truck at 5:30 in the morning while taking classes at Rock Valley College, so I could be at baseball practice in the afternoon, because I wanted to be at baseball practice in the afternoon. So be willing to work for free, and be willing to grind it a little bit. If you have no idea what you want to do, that's the hard part. And that's where sit down and think about, man, like, what brings you joy in your life? What brings you a sense of satisfaction, like a sense of purpose? Find a way to monetize it. I know that's easier said than done. It's hard, man. And I didn't just wake up one day and decide, oh, college coaching, that's what I want to do. Like, no, it takes some trial and error, right? And it takes dipping your toes in some different waters. I tell this story all the time in recruiting talks. One of the best experiences of my life was an accounting internship I did at Rockford University. So part of the business program, we had to have an internship before we could graduate. I did an accounting internship. I was making like $18 an hour, probably about what I make as a coach. And this is years ago. So the money was great, but I hated it. I would walk out in that parking lot every day with like no sense of satisfaction. I didn't have a passion for it. And it was a miserable 3 or 4 months, but it was a great experience because if I wouldn't have had that internship, I would have started that job. I would be making way more money than I needed. And I would have been making too much money to quit. Right. Because once you start making more money, the financial obligations build up. You get the nicer car, you get the bigger house, whatever. I wouldn't have been able to get out of it. And I would have been stuck doing it. And instead of looking back on 15 years and smiling and talking with you guys, I'd probably be miserable and making a lot more money, but not being happy. And Jack, I think you hit on that. Like, don't get wrapped up in the salary, man. You can make a good life off not a lot of money if you love what you're doing every day. So grind and work for free, man. Be willing to put in unpaid hours. That would be my advice to young people.
Fantastic answer.
Go ahead, Jackie.
I'm a big reader, so I don't know if you read a lot or if there's any podcasts or books that, primarily books, but if it's a podcast or a show, anything you recommend for athletes or just people in this realm of life.
Yeah, well, so I think this applies to coaches and athletes, but I like leadership stuff. Some of my most like cherished education pieces come from getting my MBA and leadership classes. And there's a lot of talk about, Pat, you kind of said it earlier, like how you can lose a clubhouse or a locker room like that. Like, talk about that in leadership classes. It's a lot harder to get back trust and credibility from people that you lead after you lose it, right? Like, it's easy to lose it. It's hard to get it back once you lose it. And so there's a lot of literature out there it's not necessarily geared towards athletics, but I think it's super applicable. I went through Bill Walsh's book this summer. Love it. For those of you that aren't familiar, he's like the architect of the San Francisco 49ers in the NFL, but a lot of it is organizational leadership and just the things that he does or did every single day to build that program into a champion. And it's things that it's little as like how you dress, like how you present yourself to people, how you carry yourself, like your body, your posture, right? Like your body language as you walk and talk and interact with others. So highly recommend if you're into that stuff at all. The Bill Walsh book is great. It's not really new. It's been out for a while, but I finally got around to kind of getting through that and really enjoyed it. So I guess that would be my one book recommendation. I'll be honest, I do more podcasting than I do reading at this point, or audio booking, but yeah, and there's so much good stuff out there, man. The stuff you guys are doing is awesome. And as dangerous as the technology stuff can be nowadays and kind of the bad stuff that comes with it, the good stuff is it's accessible, right? Like it's I'm not going to say easy, like what you guys are doing is easy, but like to put it out there, to produce it and publish it, it's accessible to everyday people. So yeah, man, you can find anything, and I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thanks, Josh. We search for the good around here. Go ahead, Dave. Last one. Bring us home, kid.
Yeah. Being in a leadership role, how do you manage your own mental health with expectations and performance? We have a lot of coaches that listen in. How do you manage your mental health going through all that?
That's a great question, man. And that's probably one of the hardest parts of it, right? Because it's easy to, and I don't think this is special to athletics or unique to athletics. It's easy for everybody to like escape their own stuff by focusing on helping other people, right? And I would guess, I kind of joke sometimes that we're like the most underpaid therapists in the country as coaches, right? But I think if you talk to actual clinicians, they would tell you like, it's hard to deal with my own stuff, and that's why I like doing this, because it allows me to jump in and help other people, and maybe kind of to put a band-aid over my own things that I have going on. So a couple of things that helped me, Dave. Number one, I chose to live about 35 minutes from work. Okay, so that gives me a good 30 to 40 minute buffer every day, driving to and driving home from work, to kind of debrief. And my goal is when I walk through that door, when I get home, like it's over with. That's not to say I'm not going to respond to texts from players or recruits or whatever, right? Like that's part of it. That's okay. But just between the ears, kind of removing the emotion from it. And so I might get home after a doubleheader and I might put on the game film and start going through it. But I try to make a conscious effort to remove like the hard emotion from it. Like if I'm upset that a player made a mistake, or I'm mad about a missed call by an umpire, which there's always going to be, like umpires are always bad. Love them all to death, but they're all bad. That's a joke, everybody. But I have a dog.
You're getting a big fine after this, Josh. I'm sorry. The first ever Keep Going podcast fine. Unbelievable. Go ahead. Go
and
ahead.
JC.
Oh my God. I hope they don't listen. Go ahead.
But no, I got a little pup at home. He's sitting here looking at me right now, mad that I'm not playing outside with him. But that helps me escape, man. It keeps me grounded, gives me something to take care of, focus on, nurture, all that kind of stuff. And then really just conversations with my circle, right? Like I got a couple buddies in my family, my mom, my brother, my dad. Having them as an outlet, I think is really healthy. Those are people that'll just listen. Like they're not waiting for their turn to talk. I think that's huge in those conversations. Like I can't do that with someone that's just waiting to talk. I need to do that with someone that's actively listening. And so having those 3, 4, 5 people that I know I can do that with and lean on, for me, that helps me kind of stay where I need to be. And David, it's a great question. It's so important because if I'm not at my best, I certainly can't lead them to my best, right? Like I got to be in a good place, and I owe that to my student athletes to be in a good place where I can give them everything I got, and try to do that on a daily. Man, we're all human, but certainly the effort's there. So
yeah, I love that self-awareness piece. Just checking in with yourself. If that's like, for example, for me, sometimes my emotions can go up and down, and it's taking maybe a couple minutes of silence, no distractions, and going internal and just asking yourself those questions that you discussed today is really an important part of just life in general. The self-awareness piece. I love that answer.
Yeah, and I'll just Pat, I know you're wrapping up. I'll just to add to that, Dave. I think that constant self-evaluation and reflection, like particularly for me, it's checkpoints, like end of the fall, end of the spring, and then reflecting back on like we have to evaluate ourselves. Like otherwise, we're not gonna grow and get better if we keep doing the same things the same way year after year after year. That's not great. That's not growth. That's not progress. So having that self-evaluation, I think especially in a leadership role, but really for everybody, I got to be able to look at myself, ask hard questions, and give honest answers in order to keep growing and getting better.
Josh, this is one of those episodes, I'll be very honest with you, where we don't come off a mute a lot. Like we just sit back and just listen to you and your experience. And I think I've learned a lot today, and I know Jackie and Dave feel the same. I can't wait to get this out, man. Like I just appreciate you taking time out of a Sunday, being the guy that you are, and the growth. You're not the same guy you were 10 years ago when you were coaching me at Rockford. And there's a lot of beauty in that, man. So I will wrap us up today. I appreciate you taking the time. And as you go on, Josh, like you got a fan in us. Like we love what you're doing. Don't tell the Rock Valley people, but like you got a soft spot here, man, over at Blackhawk. And
Hey, I'm an alum too, buddy. I'm a Rock Valley alum too. So
I know. It's that in Oakton too. It's that fine line, right? We have to make sure we cheer for our people we love on. That's our right. People, man. Well, yes, this is another episode 141 of the Keep Going podcast, sponsored by the Me Too We LLC. David Mitchell, send Josh out of here.
Josh, thank you for coming on here, spending your Sunday morning with us on the Keep Going podcast. You've impacted so many people, and you're doing such great things. And always keep going.
Keep going, everybody. Love you guys. Have a great Sunday.